But anyway, welcome, y'all. This is Modern Day Bae. We are right on time tonight, so we're gonna go ahead and get started. Okay. If y'all are just tuning in, welcome. I appreciate you being here. This is a weekly show we do every Tuesday at 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And it's the only show on tagged exploring self love and healthy modern day relationships. Okay. My name's Elle the Drug. This show is brought to you by the Scouts. And I'm excited to get started because tonight we have a topic, baby. As my guest co host, gone ahead and makes their way to the booth. Okay, we are going to dive into tonight's topic a little bit, which is unconditional love more helpful or harmful? All right. Now we're going to get into this because last time we discussed unconditional love, we didn't get very far, okay? Respectfully, because we zeroed in on the concept of love versus loyalty, and we kind of like that's where the show went into, and I didn't want to stop it cuz we was on a flow. So, I had to bring it back for a part 2. But what I will say is at the end of part 1, first time we talked about this, we kind of came to the conclusion that loyalty is the active part of love, right? It's like the verb of love, right? So that's what pushes you to do what you need to do. You know what I'm saying? Or to take the actions that you take, whatever. Okay? So now that we have that kind of set as like a foundation for this episode, it's time to get back into it and to talk a little bit more about this concept and about what is required of unconditional love and why it is, if it's something we should work towards or be leery of or what have you. We're going to get into it. All right. But we're going to get into it with our co host first, our guest co host of the evening. And then we're going to get into it with the Boss Bae panel. And if y'all been here before, you already know I love the Boss Bae panel segment. It's always so fun. They always bring such fresh perspective. And I love it. I love it. I love it. So without further ado, I would like to see some pink hearts in the chat. Y'all got me on that. And not just the regular pink heart. I need the one with 2 hearts and a little swirls around it. Y'all got me? Can y'all put some pink hearts in the chat for me? Let's see. I want to see some. Okay. Okay. Yeah. Okay. There we go. There we go. There we go. I see it. There it is. There it is. Period. There it is. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I love it. So, y'all, I appreciate y'all making my guest co host feel welcome. Please welcome Miss Kind Hearted Babe. Hi, gorgeous. How you
Hi,
feeling?
my Elle.
How you doing?
I'm doing so well, my love. How are you?
I'm good. I'm happy you're here. I'm happy we get to have this conversation together. You look absolutely stunning as always. And I'm excited to get into it. Y'all excited to get into it?
I am
Yeah.
excited. I
Good.
love
Well,
love, so
I know you do. Look, they don't call you kind for a reason. Listen, what I want you to do first is I want you to tell the people who you are and what you've got going on.
Well, guys, my name is KindHearted Babe, Queen of Care-a-Lot Land, where if no one else cares, Kind cares. I am going for my top badge, so future top badge KHB in the building. I stream usually Monday through Fridays after 10 p.m., but you can catch me on the weekends partying all day long in Care-a-Lot Land. And as you guys know, I am the co-host of She Code every Saturday at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And yeah.
And yeah, so she's got a lot going on. And y'all better pull up, okay? Because she running for top badge, okay? We love to see it. Now, I know you've been on tag for a little while, but how long have you been streaming?
I've been officially streaming for about 6 months.
Okay, period. And that's a big deal, y'all. To be ready for top badge in 6 months is a big thing. It's kind of a flex. You know what I'm saying? So, like I said, make sure y'all fave her while you have the opportunity to, because once she's famous, it's up. Okay. Sorry, no, I'm just playing. All right. Do you have, you did mention your top badge, that you're running for your top badge. Is there any other goals that you would like the Modern Day Bay community to support you on?
I mean, just support Care a Lot Land because, I care, you care, we all care in
I
Care a
love
Lot
it.
Land.
That's like the song "If I Cry," but it's a totally different meaning when you say "I care." You know, I cry, you cry, we cry. You know what I'm talking about? Okay, I think it was Mary J. Blige. I don't know. All right, kind. So I gotta ask you the one question that I ask every single co-host that I have on the show, and that is, in one word, what is the one characteristic you need in your modern day bae?
Um, I need honesty. I need honesty.
Honesty.
And I think honesty is is something that is lacked nowadays. Transparency and honesty go hand in hand.
Transparency and honesty. I love that. I love that. Now, all right. I wanted to ask a follow up question, but I'm not going to because the rule of thumb with that question is it's supposed to be one word and it's supposed to be just, it is what it is, no explanation. You just understand it. So we'll leave it at that. But throughout this conversation, it may come up. So just be prepared. Okay. All
Okay.
right. So, like I said earlier, we are talking about unconditional love. And kind of, if you remember way back when we first booked you for the show, we kind of spoke a little bit a lot about like what this concept means to you, and that's why we're doing this again tonight because I really want your intake, and your take on this particular subject. So, what when we talk about unconditional love, what is the thing that pops into your head for you?
Moving the intention. So moving with pure intentions. Knowing unconditional love for me means you your actions, your words all align with the idea of never doing me harm, never causing me harm, never
Yeah.
causing me pain. Unconditional love is truly understanding that people are not perfect. You're going to have your bad days, I'm going to have mine, but we are in it together, which is why I say honesty is such a big thing. People and sometimes try to burden the burden of life on their own, but when you're in a relationship, I should be able to see that side as well, help you through it. So unconditional is being there, being honest, and really just moving with the intention of loving me wholeheartedly, no
Mm.
matter what.
Okay, so I have to ask this question as the as we get ready to bring on the Boss Bay panel and get them up here into the conversation. I gotta ask you, Mr. K in the building. I gotta ask you, what is the difference between unconditional love and love?
So I feel like you can love, I feel like loving someone, um, there's conditions attached. I think, sorry, Lauren Hill said it best. Sometimes people love you when you do things for them, when you show up for them, when you can provide something for them. When you're no longer useful, that love goes away. When I can't do the things that I did on day one and day two, I still want you to love me full force the same. And that's unconditional, no matter what happens, what I go through, what I lose, what I don't have, you still love me that same way. And I think love is the opposite. There's conditions to it.
That's interesting. Because I've heard before that I've heard people say before that like if love is not unconditional, it's not love at all. You know what I mean? So like they don't even consider another way of loving. That's just the way they define it. So that's really interesting. We're gonna have a good conversation tonight. All right, Boss Bay panel. I'm inviting y'all to join us. Come to the booth, enter the chat, you feel me? And we're gonna get into it. I'm excited about it. We got a lot of people in here tonight. It's going to be a phenomenal conversation. I got my first Boss Bay panelist in the box now. Mr. Top Badge, jokes on you. Would you go ahead and introduce yourself for the people?
Hello, hello, hello. What's going on, people? It's Top Bass Jokes. What's up, Kind Hearted? What's up, Casper? I saw y'all in the comments, but I couldn't type while I was doing something, but I saw y'all. I love seeing everybody up in here. What's up with y'all? Always fun to be here with Elle and the whole crew.
Period. Period. Make sure y'all fave Top Badge jokes. We got your favorite resident alien. Stop playing with her. Hi, Nosh. How are you today?
Hello, how you guys doing?
Great. What's going on? Tell the people who you are and what you got going on, my dear.
Miss Naj, your favorite alien, and currently on a little bit of a hiatus, but definitely coming back in May. We'll have a lot of shows lined up. Sunday through Tuesday.
Love it. Love it. Love it. She said, stay on the lookout. Stay on the lookout. I'm coming back. Welcome back. When you come back, you got to play that all stream now. You got to play that Welcome Back by
Come
Jeezy.
back.
All right. Period. That
Can
gets you
find
hyped.
it.
And of course, we got the one and only Icon Banks in the building. How you feeling today, love?
What's up, y'all? Good night, good evening, all of that, you know. Hey.
Can we sidebar for just a quick moment? Just a quick moment. Banks, I just want you to know that I be at manifesting with Banks, and I really don't appreciate how you read me with your readings. Okay. And I'm gonna need you. I don't want you to stop because we're working on accountability, but at the same time, you could just, like, you know what I'm saying, just not all gas. You know what I'm saying? Just a little ease on me, okay? Not too much. Okay. I be like, dang, you straight. I think you said to be, yeah, something about being sober, child. Listen, okay, I don't want to talk about it, but just know.
Calm down, baby. Put that bottle down. Okay.
But just know, like, I completely felt red. I was like, you know what? She real aligned. Okay, I might need to make my life together. All right, y'all. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Super excited to get into this conversation. Last time we did this conversation, we had completely different people in the box. We had a lot of the other Boss Bae panelists here, and we had a different co-host. So I'm excited to kind of get into this topic with y'all. So the first question that I have is, um, off top, right? What is your thought process when it comes to unconditional love? Like, um what is your initial thought or your current opinion on it as we start the show? I kind of got Kind's take earlier, but Jokes, we can start with you. Y'all know we go in order, so whenever you have something to say.
I think unconditional love is a goal. And it all kind of depends on how you meet that person that you're considering at that point, because you fall in love, you fall in, like, whatever you want to call it, lust, whatever stage you find that fondness, and you're looking at the qualities of a person, you're looking at the things that you're attracted to, and if something changes or something happens, then all of a sudden you got to dig a little deeper. So to me, it depends on how you meet and what was that moment like when you first met, and what was that spark all about.
Sorry, I was trying not to breathe heavy into the microphone. I turned it down while you were talking, but okay. I love that. Naj, what about you? What's your, like, initial thought or, like, your current opinion on unconditional love?
I mean, I feel like just overall, is it, humanly possible to unconditionally love? Um, I don't know. I think like overall, I think that we subconsciously place conditions on a lot of things in life, you know? So I think that it's something like Joke said, we want to aspire to be unconditional. But the reality is, it always kicks in that, we want certain things, or we need certain things out of necessity. And because if those needs aren't met, then a lot of people don't know how to continue to love you in your weakest, or love you when you're not giving them what they need.
Hmm. So you low key don't even think it's a concept that we can grasp as humans.
I think overall some of us can,
Hmm.
but to remove kind of like the love of our creator, and not understand that unconditional love is like agape love. It's that we're striving to be in a place of, it's that relationship between God and his creation. If we don't speak about it within in those type of terms, in that universal way, then essentially, when we go to human love, it's not in that same perfection.
Mm, okay, okay. I like that. Miss Banks, what do you have to say? What's your, like, initial thought or your current opinion on unconditional love?
I'm gonna digress and double back and play devil's advocate here.
Hmm.
I feel like humans can. We first experience unconditional love when it comes to our parents and our households. So I feel like in human form, we definitely can feel unconditional love as we grow in life, and as we get older. 100%. Nature and nurture take, like, the nurturing system where you grew up, society, social media now takes place, and become a little bit skewed on what unconditional love looks like to us. And
Mhm.
now we ask ourselves, what does our childhood look like? And that goes back to the trauma and healing from our trauma and all of those things. But I feel like it's the purest, it's like something that transcends everything. It's like the purest form of love. And it
Mm.
definitely starts in the household. And if you don't feel it first in that household growing up as a child, then in life it's going to look different to every single person as they grow.
Okay. So I'm gonna play a different devil's advocate. Okay. So here's my thing, y'all. I don't believe in unconditional love. I don't believe in it. And here's why. Because I think let me not say I don't believe in it. I believe that it's very rare. And if you come upon it, it's like a once in a lifetime type of thing outside of your parents. But even sometimes your parents aren't able to show you unconditional love. For me, I think about giving it rather than receiving it. You understand? So, like, I'm not about to love you through any and everything sight unseen. Like, that's just not about to happen. I have unconditional love for myself. You understand? So like with that, like I'm always gonna forgive myself. I'm always going to nurture myself and to reflect and spend time with myself and try to get to know myself better. But for me, I'm not giving that to anybody because if you violate. Like, you know what I mean? Like you don't deserve the same level of access once you violate. And when you have those things, those parameters in order, I don't feel like there is a way for the love that you give to be unconditional. Now I can't speak for like the love that you get because that's based on how that person decides to show you love or how to love you. But
Mhm.
like as far as me, that's a concept that I really struggle with because to me all I hear is lack of boundaries. How do you feel about that? How do you feel about that, kind?
Ah, I, sheesh, that was deep. I believe in unconditional love. I definitely think that unconditional love is rare, but it's also very dangerous. I do think
Yeah.
that boundaries kind of disappear with it because at a certain point, loving unconditionally becomes, if it's not being reciprocated properly, it becomes harmful.
Right.
Are you loving this person more than you love yourself? You know, you kind of, it's a dangerous game if it's not done correctly. So I definitely agree with the idea of the boundaries disappearing, but I truly believe that if you find the person who reciprocates your love, loving unconditionally can be a beautiful thing.
For sure. For sure.
Pepper, who hurt you, yo?
Casper is in the comments acting crazy, y'all. If y'all might not be able to see it, but he in the comments acting crazy. Um, Jokes, what you think about what I said? Like, if you're like as far as giving it, do you give like are you prepared to love unconditionally?
As Casper said, being the only guy up here, I'm gonna just tell the
Speak your
truth.
truth. Speak your
You
truth.
know, if we have to bring ourselves to be show ourselves approved to even have the opportunity to have the conversation. So there's already preconditions already set for you to even for me to approach you. So at minute one of those things slip or you feel like there's going to be a change in the forecast, then there we go. We looking for somebody else to say, to take us out or do something else, which is fine because we're not obligated to those things. But um, like Banks said earlier, we do have it does depend on where you were, how you were brought up, where you did you receive love at an early age. Because if you have never received it, it might be hard to kind of show it to somebody else. A lot of people get
Right.
in relationships without even knowing what love truly is. Um, I've been in some relationships where people thought they were loving me unconditionally because that's what their friends told them that they should do, or that they saw somebody else do it. Oh, girl, you just give them a pair of Jordans, or you know what I'm saying, I'm gonna go make some dinner, I'm gonna put a balloon on the chair, and I'm gonna show him he's special. But I never asked you to do that. I can cook for myself. I probably cook better than you. I don't need you to do that. I need you to do
Mm.
something else. But people don't want to put in the unconditional effort. So I think it's really kind of like once you figure out what it is that the person needs, are you willing to do it? Are you willing to do it consistently? And that's how you know.
Hmm. Okay.
Because love looks different to every single person, I feel.
Go ahead, elaborate.
Like, you can't first go love languages, right? If
Mm-hmm.
I'm over here giving you gifts all the time, but that's not your love language and you like quality time, you're gonna think that I'm not showing you love, but that's my. But if that was my love language, I'm over here thinking, oh, like I'm doing something. I'm doing my big one right now, but
Right, right, right.
I'm not doing anything because that's not how you receive love. Um,
But isn't that with conditions? What you just said, you just described a condition.
no,
If
because
you
that
don't
would be
love me
unconditional love.
by giving me gifts, if I like gifts, then guess what? I'm not perceiving you to love me. That's a
Mm.
No, because I
condition.
feel like that would still be unconditional love because that's how you, said person, receives it,
But
right?
through the lens of that person, they already have a tunnel vision of a scope that they want to receive and give love in. And that already is a condition in itself.
Like to me,
It's
if
not
I know you're
unlimited.
scared
It's
of
not
spiders,
unlimited. It really isn't.
if
Like,
you're scared of bugs or something and you have to do something where you have to put yourself in the midst of where bugs are going to be to make me happy, I know you did that out of love because you're afraid of bugs. Like, that's what I mean by effort, doing something outside the norm that makes you uncomfortable, that you don't look to receive something in return. You just want to show that person that I'm that person that does this thing because I care about you this way.
I don't know. I have to agree with Banks. I don't think a love language is a condition because even though my love language may be giving gifts, and I realize at a point that that's not your love language, that's not something that you perceive as love, I can easily alter my efforts, like Joke says, to make sure you're getting that the love the way that you need it. I don't think it's a condition per se. I think it's just the way that you perceive love. So I don't. I wouldn't call it a condition though.
the way you
So I
perceive
think
it
part
is
of it
limited. It's what I'm
is
saying.
your
You're not perceiving it in a way that you can take it and give it with all of those things. You're literally reducing it to a certain way that you want it and you also want to give it.
yeah, one thing I want to point out is I think like Kind and Banks are coming and Jokes are coming from the perspective of them giving the love, right?
Mhm.
But Naj is coming from the perspective of the person that's receiving it, right? So like if you receive love in this way and this person is incapable of loving you in this way, then in your opinion, they don't love you unconditionally. You get what I'm saying? But y'all are coming at it from the different perspective, like, oh, if I'm giving you this love, I still love you unconditionally. I'll just alter the way that I give it when I figure out that that's not how you receive it. But like the person that's receiving it might not even give you that chance because that's not how they receive love. So now they're already thinking like, this ain't it. They don't know how to love me. You get what I mean?
Mm.
It's interesting, right? Someone once told me, and I think I mentioned this earlier, is like if you if you have conditions on your love, is it really love? If you have conditions based on what's best for you or boundaries or the way that you give it, right? Like, oh, I can only give this type of love, but I'll give it endlessly. Like, can boundaries and unconditional love exist in the same space? What do y'all think?
Yeah, you can be mature about how you approach somebody, knowing that you know you have strong feelings towards them, but you're not gonna compromise yourself or your self worth to make them feel a certain type of way. Like if you're doing what you're supposed to do, if you're courting properly, you're doing the right things, you're connecting, you're taking them out, making them feel special, and now they're asking you to do something else. You can say no respectfully if you don't want to, or if you don't feel like you need to. You've done enough and that's up to them if they can accept it or not. But you got to put those boundaries out there sometimes just to see what's going to happen. If you say yes to everything, then you're going to say yes to everything.
I definitely think
Mm,
unconditional love can exist with boundaries because every relationship has their set boundaries. So if you love me unconditionally, me saying no or setting a boundary shouldn't change the level of affection you have for me. So if I'm setting a boundary where I'm stating that something makes me uncomfortable or I'm not willing to do this, that shouldn't be a problem if you love me unconditionally. Vice versa. So I
So
definitely think it can
I have a question though. So then how do we define condition? That's
right.
that's a major question. What is condition and how is it defined?
Can you elaborate a little bit more, Naj? Like, why is that a question we need to answer? You know, I just
Because
want you to explain it.
because it almost becomes contradicting, because you saying you can have unconditional love and you can have boundaries, but isn't the setting of that boundary a condition for you to love?
No. Tell me why,
How?
Banks.
Exactly. So I said, how do you explain a condition?
Because again, that goes back to how you receive, how you was raised, how you understand love to be, right? So especially in this generation, there's so many individuals that look at love like, well, if a dude is not buying me this and doing this, then he doesn't love me. All right. And then that goes back to what you were saying in the comments. Do people still court nowadays? That's like asking, do people practice chivalry nowadays? And the answer is yes, it's out there in the world, right? And we live in a world where there's both. And I feel like there are a lot more people that look at love as conditional because it's almost like it's a barter system for them. I'm only going to do this if you do this for me, and I'm going to be the best wife or the best partner or the whatever as long as you're doing this for me, instead of like looking more deeper within, because love is not something that is on the outside. It's not an exterior thing. It can be, but it's more an interior. It's more interior. It's your feeling, it's expressions, it's emotions. It's more than what people, I feel like, see. And that's why I said I feel like nowadays, in the scope, as you were saying, in the scope of how we look at things, yes, love looks, how we see love and how social media perceives it to be is more conditional. And then we only see more of the conditional side, and people hide the unconditional stuff because it's not something we brag about. It's not something I'm going to go be like, oh, my bae did this and this and this and this for me.
So my quick reply to that is, and I'm really asking this for me because in my mind, if I'm for me to best love, right? For me to best limitlessly love, I need to feel safe. That's a condition, in my opinion. You know what I'm saying? Like the condition is you have to treat me in a way, or you have to foster our relationship in a way where I feel safe enough to love you limitlessly. You know what I'm saying? And the minute that's violated, I'm not going to feel as though I can do that anymore. You know what I mean? So like that's why I started off on the type time that I did, because it was just like, well, these are the things I need, and if I don't see these things in this person, that's not I'm not going to be able I'm not that's not going to be a continued thing. Um but that's interesting. That's super interesting. There's a lot to talk about. If y'all are just tuning in, welcome, welcome, welcome. We got Reese Cup in here. We got Reese Cup's drip drop in here. We got Lex Flex in here. We got a lot of people in the comments. How y'all doing down there? Hi, hi, hi. My name is Elle. This is Modern Day Bae. We do this every single Tuesday at 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And we here talking about, this is the part 2 of Unconditional Love. I see Sassy in the comments too. Y'all know Sassy from being a Boss Bae panelist. Last time we had this, and Susie B down there in the comments as well. Both of them, last time we had this conversation, were kind of on that I'm not giving my all. Like I'm not doing it unless I feel as though it's actually going to be worth it for me. And to me, even though that makes sense in my mind, that is still a condition, which is why that led me to kind of this belief that, like, all right, if this is how it needs to happen and it doesn't happen, and I just choose not to be in a loving romantic relationship in that way, then I guess I'm incapable of loving unconditionally. But one thing I will say, and I said it a little bit earlier, is I believe like in loving yourself unconditionally, which means having boundaries. So I guess my next question is kind of a play off of the whole, can you have boundaries and unconditional love? How can you love yourself and your partner unconditionally at the same time? What y'all think?
Mm.
I think that go ahead. Go ahead.
No, I said, you asked, how do you do both at the same time?
Yeah, how do you love yourself and your partner
Just need to-
unconditionally at the same time?
You got to know who you are. You got to know who you are before you decide to start dating or get into a relationship with somebody else. You got to be comfortable with the person you are in your own skin. You got to be comfortable with who you're aspiring to be, and you got to make sure that you're tracking yourself, that you're setting the goals that are going to most impact your life the most in a way. And when you're choosing somebody, they're not necessarily boundaries. Like if you are making the right choices, and I said this in my stream the other week, I don't know if you were still in there, but sometimes you got to change your appetite. Some things you look at
Mm,
and you want to eat sometimes it really ain't good for you, or the things that you actually need, because you spoke to things that you need, like being a safe space, but the safe
right.
space might not look like the things you normally look for. So sometimes you got to change your appetite behind and really look at it. So love yourself, know who you are, who you're aspiring to be, and as you're tracking toward those goals, find somebody that helps elevate you in your space where you need to be the best version of yourself, and also see something in them that you can inspire to, that helps you motivate you to be you.
Mm, I like that. I like that. Okay. So, I'm not gonna lie though. If I really want to buckle down and be devil's advocate, I still feel like there are conditions in that. But much else to say. What you got to say, Naj?
I mean, I still agree with that. I mean, overall, um, love is limitless, right? So love is the highest frequency. We know that. If we're operating from a place of love, as a human being, we are operating from our highest selves, right?
Mm-hmm.
The highest possible way. But
Right.
in your dealings every day, you have to ask yourself, am I looking at this from a place of love or a place of judgment, a place of fear, a place of hurt? So in the way that we actually operate and move, the only way that we can love ourselves unconditionally and our partner unconditionally is every single way we look through at things. It has to be from a place to love. It has to be from a place of not my fear talking, not my, pain talking, not my trauma talking, but I am trying to aspire to be at the highest frequency, which is I just love you as a part of the human condition. I am me and I have mercy. And as I am developing the person I am, I have to have mercy in that. And you, as you're developing the person you are, I have to remove the judgment and have mercy in that. So there is a lot of mercy that happens when you love yourself and your partner unconditionally and try to aspire to hit that higher frequency.
Okay. Okay. So you're saying it's not necessarily like, um, you're saying it's more so about loving someone enough to meet them where they are.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. I think that we put if everyone's talking about like the way we put conditions on things and people,
Mm-hmm.
we then tend to make love transactional. So if
Mm,
you don't get here, or you don't reach this level, or you don't give me this, then I can't do this, right? This is what was being said earlier. So if we are aspiring for unconditional love, then we are saying that that pole, that test, that bar to hit is not there anymore. I love you because you exist, and you love me because I exist. And
mm.
just by the way of us having the human condition, we can exist in that without any type of demand.
Okay. Okay. I want to hear from Kind and Banks. We haven't heard from those beautiful ladies in a while. What do y'all think? So, yeah, what do you think about that?
I definitely think that being able to love yourself and your partner unconditionally starts with like I have to add both what Naj and Joke says. I think it starts with understanding, like I said earlier, people are flawed. Mistakes will happen, and I think you have to be able to meet your person as a reflection and know that you're not perfect. So you're going to continue to support and love them no matter where and how they are, but at the same time knowing, like you said, forgiving yourself because you're
Mm,
not perfect, I'm not perfect. So loving unconditionally means sacrificing, giving grace, giving mercy, but also knowing that applies to me too. I'm not perfect, I also play a role in its chaos. So accountability, um, and knowing that the love that I seek may not always look the way that I think it should look, but it doesn't mean it's any less real for my person. And
mm.
I mean, that's really what it is, because some days may be bad days and it may not feel like he loves me today, or it may not feel like she loves me today, but understanding that that is human nature. We're not going to be perfect. We're going to have bad days. And that's just loving it through it. I'm sorry. I think it's still about love.
What about you, Banks? And if I may, I'm going to throw this question on you too, because I love your perspective and your insight on things. What what is the difference then if like love is defined as limitless, right? And truly meeting someone where they're at? What is the difference to you between unconditional love and just love?
So let's start by saying, do we agree or disagree? Love is obsolete, right?
Okay.
So
We agree.
love respectfully, and and I can scream to the rooftop. Love is like when you were like a baby and you couldn't walk. Okay, you didn't know how to walk. Someone taught you how to walk. Nobody, no, nothing in this world is just like we know everything. And just like humans, as everybody was saying, humans are flawed. We're imperfect. We all have imperfections.
Right.
Nobody's going to be perfect anything, right? Um, unconditional love is unconditional love is not. I feel like people look at it very, very like flawed, because at the end of the day, there's always going to be unconditional love, but I don't feel like people get hurt from that. It's more so the lack of love that hurts people, and that's why they feel like, okay, I don't feel like I'm being loved unconditionally. And in
Mm,
actuality, you are, because they love you. If I say I love you, it means I love you. It's unconditional. It's still always going to be there. It's just like friendship breakups. Just because we're not friends no more, it don't mean I don't have love for you. It's unconditional, because at some point or another, I had love for you, or next I had love for you. So the love is always going to be unconditional, but it's just going to be from a different perspective now. Like I've just it's I'm just we're not there anymore. So what was the second part of that question?
it was just like I just wanted you to go and like about it started off like the loving yourself and your partner at the same time unconditionally, but I wanted to get your take on like what would be the key difference there between love and unconditional love, which you answered. And I think it kind of goes into what Naj was saying earlier about defining conditions, right? Like what do conditions look like for different people? Um Again, devil's advocate, like yeah, someone did teach me how to walk, but if she ain't give birth to me, she wasn't going to teach me. That was the condition. You feel me? But
I
like
thought that too.
I still
But that's not
understand
a
what
condition. That
Like,
that's why we got
you're
to
being
define
brought
it.
into this world, you wouldn't exist.
but
That's
like,
love, right? That's love, unconditional love right there for your mama keeping you, okay? Because she could have went to the doctor and said, never mind.
So you're saying basically like anything that requires extra from what you would just naturally give is a form of unconditional love.
Everything, I feel like everything is unconditional love. It doesn't matter. But love is without receiving nothing back. Okay. So she gave birth to you.
Ah,
So
okay.
so your mom gave birth to you, right? At the end of the day,
Mhm.
all she's told you is, I want you to be the best version of you in this world. I'm going to teach you what you need, what I've learned as something, as for you to be the best woman that you can be. But that's why sometimes I said it starts. That's why I said it starts in the household. Okay, so
Yeah.
if you've never received love or understood what childhood love is, and it didn't start in that household, now you're very skewed. Okay, and you're
Right.
not going to ever understand what true definition of love is until you meet somebody that now has to show you what it looks like.
Yeah.
And that's why I said social media and the movies and TV, it's a very flawed version. That those are conditional loves that we're looking at, and it's not realistic.
Okay, so that makes a lot more sense to me because Banks is coming from the perspective that you don't expect anything back, and that's what makes it unconditional.
Correct.
but do they though? Because parental love, there's a lot of parents that do expect things back. And a lot of it is that relationship is because you look like me, the mother, you look like me, the father, you look like me, or you carry our last name, or you carry our family. There's like a sense of pride or a sense of you represent me in a way, so I want you to grow up a certain way, I want you to have education, which is why parents compete with other parents. So there is this
Mm.
dynamic of I see myself in you, and
Mm.
because of that ego, that dynamic of that's what makes the family unit raise that child in a certain way. So I find that interesting. But naturally speaking, there is a sense of I see myself in you. And that's why we are able to raise that. But take a child from Palestine and put them in the middle of Wisconsin, and does that person from Wisconsin family see that child in them? and say I can raise you unconditionally? No, because you're not from us, because you don't look like us, because racism exists. So, so it's very interesting, but
This is
I know where
super
it's coming
interesting.
from, but yeah.
Yeah, yeah, I can see it from both sides. It's super interesting. I think my big takeaway from what you just said, Banks, though, is that like you don't expect anything back. And I can definitely understand that as a deep form of love. Um we're running low on time, so I'm going to ask each of you to give me like a 30-second answer on advice, right? Like a word from the wise. Like, what advice would you give someone who wants that limitless love, but is also sticking to their boundaries? Or you can come at it from the perspective of someone who's used to giving, who tends to give, struggles with boundaries. Like, how would, in a quick synopsis, like, how would you tell them to move? Go ahead, Con. We can start with you.
I am one of those people who give unconditional love. I am a lover at heart, and I think the best advice I can give to you, it definitely if you have a hard time setting boundaries, is when it becomes when unconditional love should be an equal partnership. And if you're not getting even a ounce of that back, if you're not getting a portion of that back, if you are pouring into a cup that has a hole in the bottom, that is not for you. And sometimes you have to just let it go. Okay, you got to set your boundaries. You deserve everything that you are giving out. You are worthy of everything that you're capable of giving out, and it should be something that's given back to you wholeheartedly.
Hmm. Okay. I like that. What about you, Jokes? What you got to say? Advice for someone who wants to love limitlessly or does, but has struggles with boundaries.
Um, take chances, get messy, make mistakes, gain some life experience. It's hard for me to listen to people that haven't been through anything.
Mm,
Um,
That's real.
so um, for me, after you've been through some stuff, a lot of things that you look at when you get into relationships doesn't bother you as much. The things that used to, oh, she farted near me. Oh my God. Like you've dealt with it before, you're not really worried about it anymore. You know what I mean? It's like you've been through it. So when you lack of life experience will kind of hinder you from taking those chances and missing out on some good people in your life. So I would
mm,
say, don't worry about your boundaries because they're only there because you put them there. You know, they're not boundaries, they're limits. You know what I mean? Some don't nobody can hurt you unless you allow them to. And nobody can make
yeah.
you feel embarrassed unless you feel make yourself feel embarrassed. So it's all up to you. At life is 10% what happens to you and 90% how you react to it. So have the right attitude, change your appetite, and don't be afraid if it doesn't work out, just move forward.
Period, y'all. That's why Jokes is a crowd favorite over here. Naj, what's your advice for someone who wants to love? You know the question, right? I have to say it again. Who wants to love limitlessly, but maybe but struggles with boundaries, or who is set on setting boundaries and maybe struggles. What's your advice
Um,
with loving limitlessly?
I honestly feel that if you want to love limitlessly, or you want to test that for real, get outside of your comfort zone. We literally, as a society, create elitist spaces. So we create spaces of titles, and people that look different, aren't welcome. So there's a whole
Mm,
lot of places where we love, but we only love our group, whatever that group is that we've created as a tribe. So, what you really want to test unconditional love, go to places outside of that comfort zone. Love people that don't look like you. Love people that have less than you. Give of yourself. Give of everything you have to other people, and that'll put you in a different position. And you will really understand love when it's uncomfortable for you,
mm,
and you're not gaining anything out of it to sit and love a group of people that are considered below you, not of your same, money, and all of that stuff. Then you can really say, wow, I've really tapped in a place of love, because I only love you because you are part of the human condition, and so am I.
I love that. Awesome, awesome. And of course, Miss Banks.
I feel like Catherine, did you hear anything Nas just said? because you're doing all of it the opposite. Okay. No, I definitely agree. I feel like everybody kind of hit like majority of what I would have said. Heavy on the take the chances, heavy on the love without expectations, and people that are outside of your realm of loving. Like you don't understand. Like oh, this is a very big. This is the one right here. Stop loving with the narrative like of like under thinking you understand somebody. I feel like we live in a world where so many of us don't share emotions. We're afraid. Vulnerability is something that if I ask everybody put a one in the chat right now, if you struggle with vulnerability, everybody in this chat go put a one.
Yeah.
You know, so everybody's afraid to be vulnerable, and essentially it's like if we can't be vulnerable, how do we expect someone to love us? How do we expect to live in a world where how do we expect to grow in relationships and be like and find that true unconditional love if
Right.
if you can be vulnerable people around you? We're also afraid that they're going to use this against me, and I can't be vulnerable because like if I don't become friends with her tomorrow, she's going to be putting me on all the blogs or whatever. No, F it. Sorry, I know speecher, but yeah, that, because on it, respectfully, be vulnerable. 2024, I need all y'all to put vulnerability in your books, okay? Like, go tell somebody something that, like, get vulnerable. It's okay to cry. Listen, I cried so many more times this year on live than I did in my entire life, okay?
Bruh.
So, who can, yeah, I'm leaving it alone because these comments got me messed up too.
No,
Like,
and everybody who's saying they don't cry, I need y'all to go over to Men. Go be on the show, okay? See if she'll have you on the show, okay? Because nah, I'm not having it over here, okay? She will make you cry over there, okay?
yeah, no one a gangster anymore, okay? So
Yeah,
y'all not no gangsters.
period. I love it. This was a phenomenal conversation. And it was so dope to have because like I said, last time we had it, we had other people speaking about it and we kind of got into the love loyalty talk aspect of it. But I think that y'all really brought some great perspectives as far as what are the conditions, how are we defining love, how, you know what I mean, are you expecting something back? Like this was phenomenal. So I appreciate each and every one of you. Unfortunately, we actually went over time because I didn't want to cut y'all off. I wanted to hear everything y'all had to say. But I'm going to have the Boss Bay panelists go ahead and do their outros and box down for us. But we can start with you, Mr. Top Bad Jokes.
Top Badge Jokes. Y'all can see me Tuesday nights, 9 p.m. Tough Talk Tuesdays, 11 a.m. on drums every Sunday morning. Come get your spiritual nourishment. All right. Elder Drug here every other week, Modern Day Bae. It was a pleasure being here with y'all, discussing this with y'all. Hope to do it again.
Always love jokes. Always love jokes. My girl, your favorite alien, Naj. What you want to tell the people, baby?
I just want to thank you guys. I think this conversation is a great conversation just to be able to stretch ourselves, to
Mhm.
be able to just see all these different perspectives on love. So thank you for having me as usual. And you guys, I'll be back very soon for Vibrate Higher with Naj, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Sunday. And also, I'll be back on Tuesdays, midnight, with my co host Rainmaker for Unfiltered. And every second Sunday, I'll be with Daddy Damon co hosting Sinful Sundays. So I'll see you guys soon. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Naj. Have a great night. And of course, my girl, Banksy. Tell the people.
I ain't got nothing to say other than I wore pink pants today for you, El. I just want you to
I
know.
appreciate that.
Con, man. Con, I wore my pink pants for you today. Shout out to you, Con. See, I'm all baby. I'm combobulated today.
No, no, they look good. They look good, girl. There's a nice material, nice, pretty pink color. I see you, baby.
Shout out to y'all for real. It's always a pleasure being on this show. Con, you did amazing. And I ain't got nothing else to say. Thank you.
Period. Love you, Banks. Thank you. Hello. If you never heard her say it, hello. Susie does a real good impression of her. Okay, so before we end the show, I do want to get into Elle Said It. This portion of the show is brought to you by His or Hers with Casper and Elle, which airs every Sunday at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So be sure to tap into that. But hashtag Elle Said It. Unconditional love can be a tricky concept, which has the potential to turn even to a toxic place. When it comes to this concept, boundaries, in my opinion, are key. Many think boundaries are put in place to keep others at bay, but in reality, they're put in place to keep your peace with you. So reflect on what you need to feel safe enough to venture into a limitless love, and be sure that you are willing and able to give what that person needs to feel safe for them to reciprocate that limitless love. And if you can do that, then you've stumbled on something truly rare, and that is the liberty to love unconditionally. But in the meantime, protect your heart unconditionally. All right. Kind, I appreciate you so much for being here, girl. We signed you up a while ago. We got you on the show. We had to postpone. We finally had the episode, baby. You done sat in on the panel. Like, woo! This was so worth the wait, though. I appreciate you being here and sharing your insight. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Would you please tell the people one more time where they can find you, how they can find you?
Well, my Elle Bear, thank you so much. Seriously, I am obsessed and I'm so happy that I finally made it here. My name is KindHearted Babe, Queen of Carolot Land, where if no one else cares, Kind cares. I am going for my top badge. I am a co-heart of She Code every Saturday, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You can follow me on Instagram, TikTok. Just come to Carolot Land to get loved on, hugged on. And yeah, in a world where you guys can choose to do and be anything, I truly hope that you guys always choose to be kind. Thank you for having me, my Elle Bear.
Always, always, always. You're always welcome. I appreciate you so much. Y'all make sure y'all fave that beautiful queen. And she's no longer in the box. So, you missed your opportunity. No, I'm just kidding. But fave her up, all right? Go tap into her stream. All right, we're gonna bring up DJ Rich Beats. And as I get him back into the booth, I do want to thank everybody for their participation and their insight here tonight. I want to thank our co-host this week. And I'd like to thank our awesome, amazing, so smart and insightful panelists for this amazing topic and just getting into it, deep diving into it with me. I'd like to give a special shout out to the production team. All right, we got Betty, Aquarian Soul, DJ, and music sponsor Rich Beats, and of course my media sponsor to WOG CEO. All right, be sure to meet me back here next Tuesday at 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And until then, my name is Elle the Drug, and remember, you can change the world by simply being yourself. Good night.
Yeah, 16 minutes, big yo. Hey, yo.